It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. It seems I've been missing from the scene, but I'm always coming right back. In the city, just a couple niggas with me, cause I know I gotta watch my back. And I'ma be the realest when the dog falls out. And I'ma still be standing when the sky fall out. They say it's gang gang till it's time to roll out. But when them things bang, where them niggas at now? Real nigga for life. They thought I disconnected from my essence, huh? Rocking shades, but never blocking my blessings, Come from a place where it's dreary like fatal fury. The hardest fight that you face is a jury. We never worried, nigga. Ain't seen a marriage, but violence coming, we grown for it. Gun smoking, new pause. Death and stuff in new force. True gold, blue tour, shooting at your coupe door. Niggas catch a body, then rap about it on TuneCore. That's why I'm distant in my DMs. Rappers trying to be friends, but I don't think the meet's in. I've been on some business building LinkedIn. Signature like in stores. Won't even touch your fucking track without an invoice. Develop habits to elevate in my brackets. I notice most of my peers to get comfortable being stagnant over 10 years. Trying to plant my feet in the ground. But not a taste of victory is about as sweet as it sound. Yeah. It seems I've been missing from the scene, but I'm always coming right back. In the city, just a couple niggas with me, cause I know I gotta watch my back. And I'ma be the realest when the dog falls out. And I'ma still be standing when the sky fall out. They say it's gang gang till it's time to roll out. But when them things bang, where them niggas at now? Yeah. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry. We have a special guest on the show today. Y'all know we covered the Like That lawsuit the other day. We got into all 90 plus pages of it. It was a lot to go through. So many different roller coaster dips and turns that we went through. But we actually have Miss Necole Key here. If y'all can remember, she was actually named in the paperwork working with Rodney O. And of course, Rodney O is the creator of Everlasting Bass, which was sampled on the Like That song. Of course, that record came out back in the 80s. It was sampled by Metro Boomin. And ever since the release of the song, unfortunately, there's been a lot of confusion. And unfortunately, it seems like Rodney O kind of caught a bad hand in the mix of all of this. So now we actually get to speak to Miss Necole about what happened, how all of this came to be, and give us kind of an update of where things are today. As we do know, news broke just a few days ago about this whole lawsuit and money, copyright issues, etc. So now we get to see what happened behind the scenes from somebody who's actually been working on this from the jump. So Ms. Necole, thank you for taking time out your day to come talk to us over here on Inside the Industry. Greatly appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I
Absolutely.
really enjoy your show. You do great content. I've been following you for like 3 years. We were talking earlier. So I
Yep.
love your content. That's why when I saw it, I'm like, oh, let me talk. I felt like we're friends. So I'm like in the comments. I'm
Yeah, I
like,
saw
hey,
you in the
wait.
comments. I said, oh, snap. Okay.
Cause we talk back and forth. So I'm like, oh, let me just let him know. And I was like, oh, I felt like I felt comfortable enough to be able to talk like that. So I was like, yeah, you're definitely someone I would want to express what's going on, especially the ins and out of this industry because you do it
Yes.
yourself. So yeah. So you want me to start from the beginning or where we are now?
I would like to start more from the beginning so that we could kind of get to where things are today.
Okay, so we got word about the Like That sample a year before it got released. We got word about them, hyping it up at a club, whatnot, and then like that was like 6 months, no, 9 months before the release, and then the June, no, that was in June, the June before the release, so that's almost 9 months, right?
Yep.
And then again 6 months prior. So we're like, I wanted to get ahead of it, so I asked one of our agents to go and see if they want to get it done, the deal done ahead of time, just to get it. I wanted it behind us, but they said they weren't ready yet. So I was like, okay, they're not ready yet. So I told Ronnie, this stop. Just when they're ready, they'll come and hit us up. And then early March, they emailed me trying to find Rodney, and then we connected, and it was a sync agent, those license companies. They hit me up, and they wanted to start negotiating. I asked them to send me an offer, and it was a low ball offer. It was low, like low, like it was. I think it was like 6,000 altogether, and then it was recoupable, and like nothing on the back end on the masters, and maybe it was like not even 10% on the publishing. It was really low. So
Wow.
then, Ronnie just this last year, Ronnie had like NLE Chopper. He had Baby Cam, Baby
Baby
Kendrick's
King?
cousin, Keem, Baby
Okay.
Keem. So we had like 3 samples out from big artists like that. 2 of them had gold records. One of them had a platinum record. So I had to reinforce them. Like, no, you can't. Not getting them that low. I go, this is one of like the top 10 West Coast hip hop rap songs. You can't get them that low. And I gave him the rate of the last sample we got, which was 50,000. That's what we got for the last sample. And it was and then the publishing, I said 50%. That was going to be that. And I asked them, I go, first, before I did all that, I asked them, how many rights holders are on the song? I go, I need to know how many rights holders are on the song and who's going to be the rights holders for the master. And do you have the authority to negotiate the publishing side? Because sometimes when the label calls you or the agent calls you, they claim that they have both the authority of the master and the publisher, but really they're working only on the master side.
Right.
They don't have authority to work on the publishing side. So they go ahead and get the deal done with you, and then you leave you hanging for the other side, thinking you got it done. So that's where things fall apart. So I was trying to avoid that. So, and then I asked them, are you going to be performing at the Rolling Loud? I just wanted to know that. And they said, not to our knowledge. I go, okay. So then that was a week before the Rolling Loud. Next week, they performed it. I go, okay, you guys said you weren't going to perform it. So now I was negotiating at that time. It ended up being 15% master, all in, non-recoupable, 50,000 up front. And I mean, all in, I said, I want to eat where the label eats. Epic. I don't want half of Kendrick's. I don't want half of Futures. I don't want half of Metro's. I want the label side. Because if you do it, like if you go to, they always go, I'll give you 50% of the artist, right? And well, what's the artist share? It could be 2%. But it sounds good, 50%.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'd rather just have 15% of what the label gets. And then I know it's coming from the whole pie. And then 50% of the publishing, because they said it was just master the publishing was going to be Future and Ronnie. That was it. So 50-50. That's what I said, 50-50. I thought that was fair. So we were negotiating the terms, like about like the syncing, like all that stuff, all the big, the counting and all that stuff. And then it gets released before we even finish the deal.
Okay, so at this point they sent the paperwork over, but the paperwork wasn't finalized by the time the song came out.
I missed one part. So yeah, they sent the paperwork over, and they gave me a what do you call it? An offer, and inside that offer it says to use a master on various contexts. And I was like, various contexts? What's that mean? Because I was already limiting it to one. So I wanted to know what this various context was. And instead of answering that, they just removed it from the offer. They just took it out of the wording. So I'm like, okay, so now it's a one embodied master in one composition. So it's singular, not plural. And they said, okay, we're going to send you the track. They sent the track. We heard it, 2 minutes long. We liked it. We said, okay, go. And then they were supposed to send us over the paperwork and the direct deposit and all that good stuff, but they didn't do that. And then they released it. So it was like 3 days after that's when we signed it, but it was signed on the 20th. It says it's signed on the 20th, but really it was like the 23rd or whatever. Because we're trying to get the deal done, right? Just like make this, because they had things to do. They're promoting it. I don't want to hold it up. I'm giving them their word that they're going to do the long form, like they said. It's just pending the long form. He told me this is not the final contract. We're going to send you the long form. It's about 3 pages long. It's going to have all our terms, all our accounting, everything that we discussed, the letter of direction for sound exchange, everything we said. Cool. Okay. Then I was waiting for the payment a week later. I'm like, where's the payment? So then they're lagging on that. And then I'm like, can I get the splits? And I asked them about the rights holders on the publishing side, and they never really gave me a for sure answer. And then right before the release on the 19th, or right before on the 19th, I asked them, or, do you have authority to negotiate? And they never responded. But they gave me a license for the 50% publishing on that. So I'm like, okay, well, I have that. We'll just go forward with that. But then when it got released, the other songwriters weren't agreeing to that.
So the other songwriters on the song are that's
Metro, it was Metro, Kendrick, and Future, and one other songwriter that's an up and coming songwriter named Kobe. I didn't even know he was on it. So I was like, and the thing is, if I would have known that, we would be, get a finalized split sheet, and then we could start sinking in it and start making money. But now I was like, no, you guys didn't tell me that, so I'm staying at my 50. Like, you guys, I'm not moving. You guys should have let me know that. And then I heard the song, which was Kendrick. I was like, okay, that's not right. You guys, that's not the song we heard. Ronnie's like, I like it. I go, yeah, you like it, but that's not the song we approved.
right. So because I do see that was like an issue in the paperwork. So where did the issue come up in terms of like the Kendrick appearance versus the 2 minute version you heard?
Okay, the real issue was after we signed the short form, and then the finalized splits were lagging for up until April May, and I'm like, I couldn't get a deal done for publishing. Ronnie, we couldn't get synced because the splits weren't finalized. So that means there's no deal, no splits, no deal. And then they were misrepresenting us in the beginning by not telling us who the rights holders are. So really they have an invalid contract. It's not valid because the splits aren't finalized and you misrepresented the rights holders on the song. You didn't give me all the information. And then you went out and released a totally different, not totally, it was like a longer version of the song and another feature artist. So now one of the copyrights, exclusive copyrights, you get to have the right to approve a derivative, and you have a right to set a rate. They took two of those rights away from us because without telling us who was going to be on it, it doesn't give us the ability to make a fair quote. And then the other part was the way they were going to use the song. The way they're going to use Ronnie's song, we have the right to approve it. And they used it throughout. That's just one of the exclusive rights.
Right. So with you saying that they used the song all the way through, you're talking about the actual sample that plays throughout the song, like the
It starts from second 0 all the way to the end. It's in it. That's the whole everlasting bass.
Right.
So when you make a song, like a sample is a snippet, like that Easy does it, that's a snippet. When you use the whole composition throughout the whole song and change the lyrics and just hype it up certain places, that's a derivative. That's a whole new work on the whole song.
Right. Okay.
That's not, so that's a derivative. And then they didn't tell us Kendrick was going to be on it. And then when I was even trying to go back to the table. Look, okay, now Kendrick's on it. Let's figure this out. But they didn't want to come back to the table. They just stopped talking.
So at that point, they just don't want to communicate. So which makes it tough to actually close the deal.
Well, that's what you saw when you were going through the video. You're like, Nicole's working. Nicole's doing her job. I was like, hello, I need to get those splits done. Hey, by the way, you released one that should have been like, I was being nice. You guys didn't get this. Can we get this done? Ignored me. And then when I sent that 30-day, you have that 30-day to get back to me.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's when it escalated. Then that's when I started hearing about the Barry White interpolation, whatever. Now, Ronnie told me he made it independently. I believe it. And so when that came up, I'm like, okay, well, I could fight it. Ronnie's it's independent creation. We could prove it. No big deal. And I go send him my way. So when she came my way, she sent me the Weber from Barry White. She didn't send me a cease and desist. She didn't send me the composition, the sheet music to say, here, this is where you infringed. This is what we think. These are the elements. She didn't say that. She sent me a litigation hold saying that we were the infringing work without due process, saying that we owe them money, and that all my social media, all my emails, all my correspondence are on a litigation hold and I can't do anything. I think that was meant to intimidate me because they CC'd all the big executives. So to me, I thought, oh, you're CCing everyone. Oh, we're all going to be on the same page. But I guess that's a tactic that they do when they want to bully you. They bring all the people that you feel are going to be intimidating, and then they could tell you whatever they think they want to tell you, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm wrong. But
Okay,
I'm like,
so
but
I was gonna say, so with Rodney saying that this was an independent creation, um, had he never heard the Barry White song? Is it something that he just came up with like out of his own mind? Because it does
I mean,
sound
part
very
of it,
similar.
it does. But if you get the musicologist, those chords are in Motown. They're common elements, so they're not copyrightable. Those it's in a Bernadette by Michael the Jackson Five. That they're in that it's in that song. It's in a lot of Jackson Five songs. That and then one of the famous bass players, I forgot his name. That's his chord too. And then the Jamaican Jackie Mito. So it's a common chord. Now the reason that it's so distinct is because of the production he used. He used a vamp, like an amplifier, like an amp to make it more that part. And then Ronnie, he made the same sound or did two different notes, but on a keyboard 808. So they're similar, but they're different, and they're made from different um, equipment. So the production's different. So it's independently created. So Ronnie wasn't like didn't want to. He wasn't copying him. That's his own work. And if you, it just sounds so extinct because of the equipment they used. Because it's in Michael Jackson 5 too. It's just not so prominent. So and then the chords are just the basic. It starts with the G, D. Those are basic chords. Dun, dun, those are just they're building blocks. So I was willing to debate it. I go, so when works in 1973, the only way you could claim infringement is based off the sheet music. You have to provide the sheet music, and that's the only thing you could compare. You can't compare the sound recordings. So if Barry White's telling me that we infringe, fine. Let me see the sheet music. Then we could compare the sheet music, and that's how we could tell. We can't go in there and say by the sound because that's not legal. For 1973, which you have to have the sheet music. That's what you have to be based off of.
So
So she
what's
didn't want
the?
to give me, huh?
I was gonna say, so what's the distinction between for 1973 specifically? Why is it that the sheet
Well,
music
that's from
versus this?
1972 to 1978. Um, the compositions that were deposited back then, it was mandatory to have the sheet music with it. When even if the sound recording was released, it wouldn't be considered the first publication. So, like for instance, Barry White, they released it. They released the record, right? And even back then, from 1970, what's this, 1972 to 1988, you had to have the notice of copyright. So back then, from 1972 to 1978, if you didn't have that C or the P on your publication and write the producer or the publishing on it, you lost your work to public domain. Only those years had to have the C and the P. So he had the P for his phono for the record, but the publishing was still unpublished because back then it wouldn't be constituted as a published composition until you put the sheet music out. So until you put the sheet music out, it wasn't published. So it was an unpublished work, but they registered it and had the sheet music deposited into the Copyright Office. So yes, they had it registered with the Copyright Office like they should, and they had prima facie evidence of it being copyrighted, which is fine. But I wanted a valid copyright, meaning the trust is suing us, so the trust has to show me that they have a transfer of ownership of the song. They haven't showed me. So I did my own homework, and the chain of title, which is where you follow it from the beginning of creation, when it gets deposited, all the way to when it gets transferred, or sold, retransferred, and whatnot. So I followed it, and it got sold to BMI, then transferred to Intercom something or other, and then went to Warner. So that's where it's at. Now in 2001, he renewed the license or renewed the copyright. Okay, himself, Barry White did. Now if Barry White in 1982, let me see if you guys follow on. In 1982, he transferred it to Warner. In 2001, he himself went to renew the copyright. Now, if you don't have ownership in the copyright and you went to renew it, it invalidates the copyright.
Okay, so he tried to renew the copyright without actually owning it, getting it back from Warner.
Yeah, so Warner had control of it, but he went and renewed it, and it invalidated it. So they can still collect on it, but they can't go and enforce the copyright. So I knew all this, but that wasn't the plan for Barry White. So Barry White, their intention was get Necole off our back. She keeps pushing this issue. We just want to shake her. We're like, and they do this to a lot of artists because I've seen it. They just give you, they get the short form and they go off of whatever. You're happy to be part of it, and here's your money. And that's not what we agreed. First, you didn't give us the full information. That wasn't the song we agreed, and we have back end, and I know what we're entitled to. So you're not going to shake me. So even when they sent Barry White to me with that litigation hold, pay us this money, keep all your stuff, I wasn't scared. I'm like, well, show me your copyright. And she's like, oh, that's copyright 101. I go, but I still need it. And then all the other players in it, Epic and all them, just sided with her. So it's like, okay, so just because she said so, we can't get it. Like, she's claiming Ronnie's work and puts a hold on it without no valid ownership, without no deposit to prove that there's a. You're just letting her stop our money because she's claiming it's infringed.
All right, we're gonna let me pause for a second. It's starting to freeze up a little bit. All right, we can resume. And real quick, can you kind of move yourself a little bit over to your right?
Percent?
Yeah, just want to get you more centered in the screen. All right,
Better?
you're good. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so you asked for the copyright. They didn't produce that.
Yeah, I just wanted. I'm not. Let's talk about it. If you're saying we infringed, let's talk about it. Let's make sure we all have our ducks in a row. Let's do it right. Do it professionally. And they didn't want to do it. They just wanted to strong us. So I'm like, okay. So I refused to. Then they gave us a deal. August. No. Okay. This is actually. I go. I already knew that they own. I already knew they infringed on Ronnie like that, right? So technically, we own 100% of the song at this point. Legally, we do because they didn't finalize the deal. So they knew that. They knew I could go sue them for infringement, and I was headed that way. So they send Dorothy my way, Weber. So I told Dorothy, I'll give you 45. I'll keep 45. We'll give Eazy-E 10. So we all the samples get our take. But that's based off of you showing me ownership.
Okay.
So you would think you would do that for Barry White, right? She didn't take that deal. She came back with a deal for 30% of the composition and 25% of the master, and relinquishing all Ronnie's rights to Everlasting Bass. And she knew I knew that Warner was in control of the copyright, so she put on the agreement and Warner, like joint agreement with joint Warner. But like there's no person that's attached to Warner. Like she just put it up there like, oh, it's Warner, so now it must be legit.
Okay. So they actually, you can't verify that they actually went through Warner to
I know
actually,
they didn't because there was no, it wasn't, they just, yeah, I know they didn't.
Yeah.
But I knew she knew I knew Warner had it, so she thought, let me just put Warner. And that's going to make her believe. And I'm like, but why would I even like give you Everlasting? That makes no sense. And then why wouldn't you, if Barry really was your artist or your client, you should have been advocating for him and take the 45.
Right, right.
Position doesn't give you entitlement to the master. And that's another thing too. If someone samples a master of someone else's master, and an unrelated composition comes in and says you infringe, it doesn't matter because it was the master. There are two different ownership. There's a composition ownership and the master ownership. So the master owner gave it. That's what they sampled or used. They didn't use no composition. They didn't interpolate it. So having her come in and say it's hers, it's irrelevant. It's not an infringement. That's
Yeah,
another defense.
because they didn't actually sample the Barry White.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So that's another defense. I was like, it's irrelevant if it wasn't your composition, if it wasn't your master. But then they wanted to come take Ronnie's master, so then they could have it for other licensing. And they thought the pressure of everything that they were putting on were going to fold. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving it to you. I'm not doing it.
Okay,
And then
got you.
she, and then that's when she went to court. And she was already in negotiations with my attorney, right? Talking to my attorney. But when she filed the lawsuit, she filed it directly towards me. And then it was $1 million. So like that's supposed to scare me. Oh, I'm gonna lose everything. Oh no, not me. Don't put me on it.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, well, I don't know why you put me on it. That was a mistake. I told my attorney but the attorney we hired, we paid 50,000 for, and I told them all our defenses, and I told them Epic didn't secure the license,
Hmm.
but these were attorneys that were already had relationships with these people,
Right. Okay.
and then all of a sudden I felt like I was being sidelined, and they're pushing Ronnie, and they were trying to keep like Necole doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, why do you want to renegotiate the whole deal? Because then they're going to come and take more. I'm like, how so? We're the ones that got infringed on. How are they going to take more? Like, it doesn't make no sense. But he's like, no, just take what you have now. I'm like, no, we could go back and negotiate it because they don't have it. It's ours. And then he's like, well, why doesn't Barry take 44, 45, 45? Why does she want the master? Why? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like that's more of a favorable deal for Epic. So then I did my research on Dorothy. So Dorothy is known as the estates, like the legacy estate lawyer. So she works with Jimi Hendrix, Nina Simone, and all them like that. So currently, Jimi Hendrix band members sued Sony for
Okay.
some royalties. All of a sudden, Dorothy from Jimi Hendrix comes in as an estate and comes in between the Shield Sony. And now she's like talking about this agreement that they had years back, but no one could validate this agreement.
Okay.
So when we were in court, she was doing a similar thing to me. She was going to attach the invalid licensing to the court documents and push it through the court system as if it was valid. And the
Okay.
and the and I told my attorneys, you know that agreement's not valid. Why we've been refuting that agreement since day one. Why are you letting her attach it, saying we haven't refuted it? They're
Okay.
like they're telling me just shut up, shut up. You shouldn't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I know I refuted that license. Why aren't you stopping her? I go, and why haven't you asked her for ownership? You guys could ask her. She won't give it to me. You guys are the attorneys. Go ask her. Oh, we don't wait for discovery.
Okay.
I go, what? That makes no sense. I go, why are we going to make for discovery? Because isn't that the threshold to prove ownership before you even sue someone? And then they're like, well, yeah, but that's later down. I'm like, so we gave them 50,000, and then they're like, well, we're in New York. She puts us in New York. We're in California. We never went to New York, so the jurisdiction is not our jurisdiction. So they're like, well, we're just going to dismiss it for jurisdiction. I go, why? We have merit. Get it thrown out for merit, and we don't ever have to go back to court again. If you get it thrown out for jurisdiction, all she's going to do is refile it in California, and then we have to pay another 50,000 and go through this whole process again.
Right.
So just
Okay.
attack the merit now. We have the defenses. We have the fact that it's master sampled by Ronnie O. We have the fact that he independently created it, and we have the fact that what do you call it? They have the fact that they don't have their ownership, and it's on the deposit, so they can't sue. But our attorneys didn't do that, and they tried to get rid of me.
Okay.
So then when it was like the last dismissal, they're still arguing dismissal, and when she was going to attach the license to push their dismissal through, I was like, they're not helping us. They're going against us, and they're going to let this license get validated through the courts. Because if she writes in the court document that it's not refuted, and our attorneys don't say anything, then it's not refuted.
Okay.
So
Right.
so now it's validated. Now that deal it's validated. But I was like, you're letting her screw him. So that's when I was like, I got to get to the judge and tell her. I don't know how I was going to do it, but I wanted to show her what was going on. So I figured out motion to intervene. I didn't think it was right what they were doing. Oh, and then that's when they decided to. They called me up. They're like, you can't do that. I go, why? I go, you guys can still keep your strategy for Ronnie. I'm not. If that's your strategy, do it. But since you're not looking out for my interest, then I'm going to do it my way. That's the whole point of intervening. Honestly, I just wanted to get the information to the court. I didn't care about. I just wanted to show the judge, look, this license isn't real. This is how they've been lying to us. They never gave us the rights holder. This is how it is. That's all I wanted to do. Just give her my paperwork. And then when I did that, we also did a takedown notice. I sent a takedown notice to Epic and all the other players. And I go, can you please give me the signed agreement that allows you to exploit the track? They don't have it. So I go, since you don't have it, I'm going to take it down.
Okay.
So when I did that, Epic calls Ronnie's attorney. Why are you calling his attorney? And tell him, did Ronnie authorize this? His attorney calls Ronnie, goes, did you tell Necole to do this? He goes, hey, if I'm not getting paid, no one's getting paid.
Okay.
He goes, so then his attorney goes, well, since you're going against our strategy now, we can't work with you.
Right.
So protecting his music is not their strategy.
So what was their strategy at that point?
They were telling us they were going to get it dismissed. But what it was they were trying to wear us out, like with the $50,000 that we paid for the attorney, with the $50,000 we got for the upfront fee.
Right.
So that was gone. And then when we first got the attorney, they're like, well, you can't afford it. You can't afford it. I'm like, well, how much is it? Because I knew we could fight this, and if you had the attorneys, we'll give you everything then, because we know we could fight it. And so they took it, but then they're like, well, we're just going to get dismissed. And I told Ronnie, I go, I think they're going to get dismissed and then thrown out and then put it back in here until we get worn out. And we're going to have to take their deal because we're going to be so exhausted by the time we fight all this stuff. We're going to have to take whatever they offer us.
Gotcha.
I go, and meanwhile, they're benefiting at the peak of it. Just because they didn't want to come back to the table, or in fact, just because they didn't want to follow through with the terms that they actually had. They just wanted to gyp us. To me, it's like they had no intention to ever solidifying that deal because they released it without us even signing it.
So the initial license agreement that they ended up, paying that $50,000 for, you're saying that it wasn't so you're talking about they never signed the long form.
Yeah, they never signed the long form. It was pending the long form. Yeah.
Got you.
So when it's pending the long form, the short form, it's like the general, like the good faith kind of, but they didn't even follow the good faith. So I was like, I was trying to work with them. Like I was telling them, follow the good faith, or I could go for what you guys did with this new song. Let's just work together. They didn't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, well then you guys really screwed us. So you really now you infringed. You really did what you guys did. You have no licensing. You haven't paid us. You're strong arming us with this litigation. This Barry White, when she won't even show ownership, she's putting all these like settlements saying that Ronnie infringed. So she went to all these. She went to the publishing and every work saying that she owned the work. She owned Everlasting Bass because there was an infringing work. So she took over Ronnie's music, and everyone's letting her do it.
So legally they took over his music?
No.
Okay.
Just because she said so. No, legally. No. Just because she said so. But she's really well known in the industry. So just because she said so, everyone and everyone started calling it the infringing work without due process.
Got you.
So because that's the infringing work, that means it's Barry's.
Got you.
But no legal hold, no court order, just because she said so. So at that time, when the copyright claim hit, we had a $2.2 million deal.
Right.
That got removed. And how convenient! Sony Publishing comes in to be the hero, and offers us the $1.2 million. So we made prior financial commitments. So that we lost the 2.2, so we had to take the 1.2. We're in distress. We're like, okay, what we had, we need money. So we took the 1.2,
Okay.
but the 1.2 was up front. We got 800,000, right? And the 400,000 was based off of resolving this claim and finalizing us splits.
Okay.
Okay, it was contingent on that. So I didn't put it together then, but Sony Epic, Sony Publishing. And then I realized the numbers that they were giving me, like Sony Publishing was like, you guys should just settle, take 30. They settle. I'm like, that's the same number. Oh, girl over here, Dorothy was trying to give me. And that was the same number that 88 Keys was trying to get me to do when he said he interpolated it.
The 30%.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Take the 30. So I'm like, those numbers are all the same.
So they're all pretty much saying the same thing.
Yeah, they're trying to get us to that number. And I was like, the thing is, like, you could have talked to us. Like, I don't understand why they had to do it this way, you know? Honestly, it's like, it baffles me, like, how they try to do it. So when I intervened, I showed the judge all the stuff, right? And when she actually was considering me to let me in, I was shocked. I'm like, well, if she's considering, I'm going to try to do whatever she says I have to do if I could get in, because then I could express myself then. I was just thinking I could get one letter in, tell her what it is, and to go with that and have it in her head, you know?
Got you. Let's take let's take one quick pause real quick, and then we'll pick back up.
Am I saying wrong?
All right, we can pick back up. Sorry.
Okay. No, thank you so much. But yeah, like, so when we're in court, and when she's in court, she's putting me on the docket. Like, she'll say my name. I think she said my name on the docket more than she said Barry White's song.
Okay.
And she was framing me as someone incompetent. Like, I did the deal wrong. So they're making me the fall guy for the mishap of this licensing.
Yeah.
So they could take it over. And my attorneys are letting her. So that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, so the attorneys they're colluding. They're colluding. That's it. So I told the judge that. The judge didn't strike my filings. She didn't reprimand me, because Dorothy told her, reprimand her. She shouldn't be doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the judge paid no mind to her. I don't want to be in there. I don't want to be a lawyer. Believe me, I don't. I like I like my head down doing the paperwork. So when I go, what happens is, then she even went to my Instagram and got stuff off my Instagram and tried to smut my character to the judge that way. She sent the judge some of my Instagram stuff of me advocating for artists, telling them what they could do to protect themselves.
Okay.
She was taking that as a threat. I go, that me telling people how they can protect themselves using the copyright laws is not a threat. Right. In fact, you're trying to silence my advocacy.
That's right. There's organizations that do that every day.
Yeah, I go, that's an anti-slap law. You can't do that to me. But she did that. She sent that to the judge. The judge paid no mind to it. So usually, when it all came down to was I couldn't intervene because procedural. Me and Ronnie aligned, our interests aligned. When the attorneys removed themselves, now our interests align. Now he could advocate for both of us.
Okay.
There's no need for me to be there because it's duplicate. But it had nothing to do with the merit of what I said. She kept what I said on the docket.
Okay.
So that says a lot right there. I just couldn't be involved in it because of duplicate filings. It made no sense. I get it. And she was very, very respectful. And honestly, I don't even think I deserved it, because she gave a full explanation with case law, explaining exactly why she was doing what she was doing. I was very humbled that she even did that.
Okay.
I didn't deserve that. She could have just wrote me off like, pro se, get out of here. I say no. But the fact that she broke it down and told me this is why I'm doing it. And in fact, when I first submitted it, I didn't do it correctly. She told me how to do it. She said, I need you to write your pleas, your claims, and your counterclaims. Now, I don't know how many judges let someone come in non-party and put their pleas, claim, and counterclaims.
Okay.
So
and this is pertaining to the Barry White lawsuit at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I intervened on that case, and she's telling me to put my plea, claims, and counterclaims. She's like, I can't give you relief until you're a party. So she was actually considering me. So that whatever I sent her, she honestly saw there was merit there, and she was considering it. But because my company was a company and it was incorporated, they said I had to be represented by an attorney, and that me and Ronnie's interests align, so it couldn't work. So it was mainly procedural. So now Ronnie can represent us himself, pro se.
Okay.
So now at this point, we gave them all our money. They didn't do anything except for drag it out and waste our money. And we don't trust attorneys now at this point.
Got you.
So it's like, now what? You know, I go, Ronnie, you have to do this your own. So we're researching and trying to figure out how to do this like with little time to learn this stuff. And then I look at the docket and I go, Ronnie, your attorney's never answered. So when you don't answer, when someone sues you and you don't answer, it could fall into default.
Yes.
That means the other side could say default, we win. So they set that trap. So when they withdrew, they didn't tell Ronnie. So I go, shoot, Ronnie, we got to answer. You got to answer that. Okay. So he's like, shoot. So we're like working together trying to do it. And we have a paralegal friend, and we're like, is this right? And they worked together. They figured it out. And then he sent it in. And that's when she started answering the judge, because she went quiet. Like, she was talking to us. Also, she went quiet for a while. But what's wrong with the judge? Why isn't she responding? And then that gave us time to look what's missing. And it was the answers. And as soon as we sent the answers in, she started executing, and she started cleaning up. She started getting things done. So that's when we're in pretrial now. So she started moving it fast. So this is where Dorothy was paid not to get to.
Okay.
They didn't think we were going to get this far. They thought they were going to get us thrown out, dismissed.
Right,
and then take our money, and then we start all over. They win. We're exhausted, right? But we're still in it, and now we're getting to discovery. So now I want their emails. I want to know how you learned about this infringement. Did your trustee, Glodine, call you and tell you about it? Or did you and Epics team this up together and try to come strong arm me and Ronnie? Because the emails that I have right now are pretty damning. Like, I don't know why Epic would call his attorneys when he did a takedown notice. That makes no sense. Like, I sent you the email. Contact me. Show me the agreement.
Right.
I want one other deal. A sync deal was happening. Epic was doing the master. I go, do you have authority to allocate Ronnie's earnings? Because we don't have an agreement. Can you show me the agreement? And then the next thing I know, Dorothy's calling Ronnie's attorney, telling me that I have a litigation hold and to get my emails. So they took my emails. They collected all my emails to try to find anything wrong I did to put on Ronnie. And I told our attorney, I go, why am I giving her my emails? He's all, it's under limited discovery. I go, well, then limited discovery, go get ownership. If I could give her my emails, go get our ownership then. That's only right.
Yep.
He didn't want to do it. But now she has all my emails, which is one of them was that licensing that was invalid. And that's what she was going to attach to her paperwork to make it valid. So they're using my paperwork to push their agenda.
Okay.
And my attorneys are letting it. And meanwhile, they won't ask her for discovery or for ownership or the deposit.
Got you.
So now that we're in this part of the discovery part, she still hasn't shown it. Like, so Joe Cooley asked straight out, I'll sign a settlement today to get me off of this if you show me ownership. He's all, because I'm not going to walk away when you damage my reputation with this infringement. I'm connected. So I'm not just going to settle just because you said I'm out. Because they wanted him out. They're like, here's a settlement, go. But you can't sue us, and you have to drop your counterclaims. He's like, whoa. First prove you don't have you have the right to sue me.
So they were offering him a settlement.
Yeah, a settlement, not no money. It wasn't no money. It was just a settlement letter saying you can't sue us, and you're going to say that we did no wrong, and you will release you from this the situation.
Okay.
But then he's like, well, why should I be released if you guys harm me and you don't really have a right to bring this case? Then that's evil, he said. He's also, no, prove you have ownership before I sign this, and then we'll talk. and they haven't done it.
Got you.
So then,
go ahead.
so then the judge told Weber during the conference call, Miss Weber, to show ownership. And she goes, Miss Weber, you'll do that, right? And she said, yeah. 2 weeks later, still no. So Joe's like, well, I want ownership. And then he had someone change the wording of it, saying, okay, I'll withdraw, but if this turns out to be a ill will claim, I get so much money and a public apology. That's what he was saying. And she goes, no, we'll just withdraw you. We'll just take you off.
So the judge allowed that?
We have so that was last week, right?
Okay.
So during the conference, during the trial, I mean the pre-trial conference, the judge asked Dorothy, "Why did you sue the third parties? Where are the other parties involved?"
And the third parties would be Metro, all of them. Okay.
She's like, "Oh, we have a agree. She's all, do you have an agreement with them?" She said, "No, but we all agreed to hold it in escrow." Do you have an agreement? No, but we all agree to have it in escrow. That's an agreement.
Right.
And I'm like, well, we didn't say anything about escrow. We didn't know about this. Is that where our money's at? That's the first we're hearing about it.
Okay, so all the money is being held in escrow currently?
That's what they're saying.
Right.
Okay. That's what they're saying. So that's the first time we heard it. So then she goes, she told the judge that she was trying to make it more efficient by not bringing other parties involved. That makes no sense. Because when someone uses your work, you want the parties to be blamed. You bring them all in because everyone's in trouble. You don't just pick and choose. That was like targeting. I think that by the judge saying that to me said, okay, maybe she knows that something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
So then Ronnie was so frustrated. He's like, I don't understand why I'm even here. She hasn't even shown ownership. She hasn't met the threshold. And I'm dragged into court. And people that are CC'd are these big wigs. And it's my music that's throughout the whole song. Why am I even in court without even and my money being held up because no one can show me ownership? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the judge's hands tied, right? So she's like, well, what you could do, there's 2 options, she said. Now in discovery, and you can now subpoena these third parties. Or if you feel like you've been damaged or hurt, you could go sue them.
Okay, so the judge actually told you guys to do that. That you can do that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So she's like, you could go file a claim, and then I'll merge them. And then we could do it that way.
Okay.
So during that pre-conference call, the first thing, one of the first things Dorothy says, Ronnie told me, was that she claimed that there was a agreement in principle between me and her. I go, I never did an agreement in principle. Why would she say that? Mm-hmm. She's already saying that I made a deal with her. I go, I'm the fall guy again. I go, she keeps bringing my name up in here, but she doesn't want me involved. But she keeps saying, she keeps talking about me, but I can't defend myself or say it's not true.
Right. So
I told Ronnie, there's no agreement that she's saying. And what agreement she's talking about was that 30%, 25% that she was trying to take Ronnie's ownership. That's the agreement she's trying to push forward.
But they don't have.
But I never.
But from you and Rodney's side, you never consented to that 30%.
No.
Right.
Yeah. But
so they can't produce paperwork that says that.
No, they have the offer, but there's no signature.
Right. Right.
It's just an offer. Yeah. It's just an offer. It doesn't even have Ronnie's name on it.
Right.
But that's what they're going to try to push forward, right? So Ronnie's like, you've been sidelined, you've been pushed out, you've been working like this catalog is yours, like you go hard for this catalog, and no one's respecting you. So he made me an owner. Retro date to 2020. So now I have rights, as he would have rights, and everything they did to me during the whole time is doing it to a rights holder.
Right. So now, that's where I saw that in the paperwork. Yep.
Yeah. So now I could tell them how, because I'm the biggest evidence. because I was there from the beginning. I'll tell you exactly, and I kept notes
Right.
exactly how it. Like I have a letter from one of the Epics team saying Metro's to the song except Metro Circle. Well, that right there says you need to give us the right to approve it. That takes one of our exclusive rights. You just submitted that right there.
Okay.
I have the I have the email where I asked for all the rights holders and they never answered. I have the email where I asked them, do you have authorization for the publishers? And they never answered. I have the email where I asked them, are you going to perform this at Rolling Loud? And then they didn't answer, and then they performed it.
Yeah, because he said
So,
they did answer. They said they didn't know, and then they did
oh yeah,
anyway.
they
Yeah.
didn't think so, but then they did, and then so all that's documented.
Right.
And then when right after the license, when I first came to them and said, hey, that wasn't the song we approved. I did that on the 22nd, the day it got released. I have an email that says, hey, that's not the song we approved. And then they said, you don't want to mess up Metro's friendship with Rodney. I go, are you serious? I go, we're at this level of negotiations. Like, I thought this was going to be the top notch of negotiations, and we're in the schoolyard. I don't care about his friendship. If he's
Right.
mad about Rodney protecting his rights and he ain't a friend, I
That's
go,
true.
that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I go, that is ridiculous. I can't believe they even said that. Like, his friendship, like, really? Like, oh, we don't want to be mad at Retro. We weren't friends anyway. Like, if we were friends, he would have called Ronnie and got this approved way ahead of time and not do this now. So I don't know what friend you're talking about.
Right.
So, I mean, so I have all that paperwork. It's like, it's there.
Hmm.
And the thing is that they try to sideline me, try to say how I did the deal wrong on documents. If they could get it done on court documents, it's pretty much true. And if you don't refute anything on court documents, it's an applied truth.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Yep.
so if you say it and you don't say no, then it is what it is. So she's doing that to me where I can't defend myself, which is like defame. It's discrediting me. My whole job is rights management. If people have that saying I did something bad, that's my whole career.
Right.
So I was like, how are you guys? I don't understand the point of them doing this. Like all they had to do was come back to the table, or in fact, just pay us what we agreed. You didn't even want to pay us what we agreed. And
Right.
then
So
you guys strong arm us with the very thing that we're going to roll over. We didn't. And your Dorothy, I guess the one that's supposed to protect you, shield you, like she does all these other with these other states. She's not shielding you because now you're in discovery. And now now she wants to have she wants a lot of confidentiality. I don't think
okay.
that's right.
So she's requesting for the discovery to be confidential. Got you.
Mm-hmm. And I told Ronnie, I go, if we have it locked down with the proceedings, no other artist after us is going to be able to know how to do this. Like this, I try to learn by other case law, and there's hardly any independent artists that have done this, or so because they keep blocking it down, they sealed up the procedures, so
Yeah.
there's no blueprint to how to protect yourself, and it makes it intimidating. I go, and it's a public duty, I think, to leave it open. If we fail or not, I go, but there needs to be something out there where people can at least see how how it's being done, even
Hmm.
if we do it wrong. Like at least they have an idea. Okay, I could, because that's how I do a lot of my stuff for Two Life Crew. It's like who failed doing what and how I could fix it, and then I tell the attorney, like help him figure that out. So it's like that research part of it.
Hmm.
So how are people supposed to be able to protect their music if there's no help? Like no one can show you like how to do it.
Right.
And I go, it might be embarrassing. We don't know, but I think we should leave it open because how is anyone going to learn?
True. So then you have filed the lawsuit against Barry White Estate, um,
Yes.
Sony, Metro, Future, Kendrick. Who else is involved? Universal.
Peter Kendrick, Metro, Universal, Sony, Epic, Dorothy Weber, and Rob Finn, and the one that didn't give me all the information from the
Yes.
Epic deal. Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone wants to know why Kendrick's on there.
Of course.
Okay. So Metro, he said in his statement 50,000. It's correct, right?
Right.
But he also said it's not us you're mad at. You're mad at the relationship between Epic and Barry, right? He didn't say you're mad at Barry because of infringing. He said you're mad at the relationship.
Right. Okay.
I am mad at them colluding. I am mad at them stopping our money because they said so. Now, if he would have said because you infringed in the claim, no, because there's no infringement and that's all made up. I'm mad at the relationship that they had that caused this all to happen. And he's right. But the fact is, he benefited from it because he knew it was happening.
Okay.
And if he knew about the 50,000, he damn sure knew about the 50% that we were owed on the deal.
Right.
So why would him and Kendrick go register the copyright composition as owners, and not even put Ronnie as a songwriter or owner?
Yes. So he should have been in the copyright for that song.
Yeah. So if you knew about the 50,000 that we were given, so you should know about the other part of the deal, which was the 50% ownership on the copyright. But you and Kendrick went and registered it as owners, 50-50, and didn't even put Ronnie as a songwriter. And then we found out through Future that he thought it was weird that Ronnie didn't want to be on the Grammys.
Future thought it was weird that Rodney
Yeah,
didn't want
that
to be
Ronnie
at the
didn't want. They told him that he refused to be on the Grammys. Ronnie's
So
like, I didn't refuse. They just didn't put me on it.
So all right, so that's another question is, to my knowledge, and you can correct me, I've never really seen where a rights holder for like a sample is a part
That's
of the
it's a
Grammys.
sample. If it was
Hmm.
a sample, like NLE Chopper did a sample, I want to consider it like Grammy.
Hmm.
But this is the whole song, and everyone when they hear that song, they know it's Everlasting Bass. You know it. Everyone, old hip hop fans, right away are bonding with their kids now. That's our music. That you
Right.
don't even know who
So
that's from.
so
That's
here's my
Ronnie's song.
of course. So my question here is because I've seen situations where artists like, let's say like a Kanye, Watch the Throne, right? Kanye and Jay-Z, they got the song Otis, and I believe it features Otis Redding because his sample is like so prominent in the song that when you look at the song title, it actually says featuring Otis
Mm-hmm.
Redding. I've seen that before where some songs will feature the sampled artist on
Mm-hmm.
it. So why isn't it like that where it actually features Rodney
Yeah, you
O?
think so, right? They didn't want to do that. So my thing was, you're going to make him 50% copyright owner, and you're going to make him a songwriter. So he's entitled to all the benefits of whatever they get.
Mhm.
If you don't want to put him up for forefront, fine, but you're going to make sure that he's acknowledged. That was a
Right.
compromise. So
Right.
that was
So another question I have is on the copyright registration with copyright.gov. You said it's Kendrick and Metro. I thought that on because that would be the master, right?
no, so there's two ones. They have a master
Right.
one and
Right.
the composition. So the composition is Kendrick and Metro
Hmm.
as the owners, and then future Metro, Kendrick, and Kobe as the
Gotcha.
songwriters.
Okay.
On the master side, it's Epic, Sony, and all their labels that they have. Um, Metro's own label, they all have their own little
Okay. Sharon
brand.
in the master.
Yeah,
Okay.
those labels are there, and they have all the songs of "We Don't Trust You"
Hmm.
in that master. And then they have in the notes sampled Everlasting Bass.
Hmm.
But Ronnie has 15% of that
Right.
song.
Yeah, and it's in the email and all of the actually it's in the licensing agreement that they sent
Yeah.
over.
And the terms would have said, okay, when sync happens, are we gonna forfeit it where you could approve sync and you just give us the money? That was supposed to be said.
Hmm.
That wasn't even finalized yet. So to me, it was like they just gave us a half-ass deal, thinking we're just gonna be happy with whatever we got. And then when I kept trying to get the deal solidified, they're like, "Well, just send Dorothy on her, and she'll roll over." And when I didn't, they filed this claim. And
So okay, go ahead.
the thing is that licensing thing has an indemnification, right? Technically, that license is invalid. We're not really in debt. We don't have to indemnify them.
Okay.
So, but because they said so, they forced us to do it. And our
Okay.
attorneys weren't helping us. They're like, "Oh, you're." I go, "But I'm telling you that it's not a valid agreement because you misrepresented. It's like they didn't give us all the information. It didn't get signed on time, and they haven't paid us on the back end of it."
Right.
So
But
it's
they
not
okay, so but they did send the 50,000 for
that 50,000,
the
but they
sample
didn't do the
clearance.
yeah, but they didn't do all the other terms.
Okay.
And you have to do all the other terms. Like once you breach, you breach. That
Right, right,
makes
right.
it
I got you.
invalid.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that was like that's invalid. You're invalid. And they didn't want to come correct or anything like that.
Right.
And
So
I kept trying and trying and trying. They just want to do it.
so another question I have is when Sony Music Publishing comes in and they, offer you guys the what was that, 1.2 or something like that million?
Mm-hmm.
Um, did they consume the publishing for that song?
Oh, that's right. I'll tell you. Okay. So they were telling us that everything's on hold, right?
Hmm.
I didn't get an email from Sony, hold on the mechanical, 50% unfinalized splits. That's what we're being told, right? So this last week, we don't we don't want to. This is not our thing. We're there because we have to. It's a necessity to get our music. That's our music. We're going to protect it. Even if we go down, Ronnie says it this way: I'm not going to have someone drive my car and tell me how they fucked it up. You know what I mean? I'm
Hmm.
not going to. I'm going to mess up my own car.
Okay.
I'm not going to have someone tell me how they hit it. Like I'm going to like if I'm going to lose my music, I'm going to lose it on my terms. It'll be my fault. I'll tell you how I did it. Because he's like, I'm not going to give it to no other. He's scared. We're scared. So I told Ronnie, I go, "Hey, we still have that back earnings. Can we see if they would give us that to help us with our attorney, to get an attorney?" So we reached out to them and they said, this is when I knew something was off. "We'll help you, but we'll pay the attorney directly and we get to approve the attorney. And you can't sue Epic and Sony."
Okay. So they're protecting the house.
But they're not protecting Ronnie when I'm
Right.
telling them that the exploited work is unauthorized and they're not stopping it.
Hmm.
And then they won't do takedown notices to stop Ronnie from being hurt.
Right.
So they're protecting their
Because
interests, but no one's protecting Ronnie.
so okay, let me wrap my brain around this. So if they're telling you guys not to sue Sony, Epic, um, they have to approve the lawyer, and then you're having this dispute, and they should already know that you're having this dispute
Oh,
with
yeah.
Miss Weber and all of them. So what stands out to me, what my question is when they paid Rodney for the publishing agreement, did they do a side deal with the Barry White estate to like have them consume the rights of Everlasting Bass?
Well, I thought that was the deal, but I honestly think Barry White, the attorney, was used to make it look like it was Barry White.
Okay.
Because at the same time we were talking to the attorneys to get the attorney, I mean, it's just publishing to get the attorney,
Hmm.
whatnot. They were telling me they sent me the agreement, and it says it was based off of our back end can't be released until we finalize the 50%, and there's no hold, and there's a resolution of this claim.
Okay.
It just so happened, God's good, just so happened that same morning I get a licensing request from Sony, different department, asking the license like that. And I'm all, is did you get the splits confirmed?
Right.
She's all, she hits me back. She's all, the splits got confirmed in December.
How?
What? I go, is there no hold or claim? There's no hold or claim.
Okay.
And then it just so happened that same day, God's good, I get a net, or what, I kind of set this up. So the YouTube publishing, I stopped all of it. I stopped the YouTube publishing and I stopped the sound. I'm
Okay.
stopping that because and I told a partner on YouTube, because they came and told my partner, YouTube partner, hey, release that. That's ours. And I go tell them, show me the agreement that has Future, Kendrick, and Metro on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the agreement is on Future.
Right.
If they can show me that, I'll release it. But if they can't, that's ours. So I stopped it, and it's in dispute.
Okay.
I go, stop the publishing too. So I stopped the publishing too. And that's when, at the same day that this other girl came, this publishing girl from the YouTube part, she tells me, you need to release it because it's a significant amount and you're holding it up for the other artist. Like, oh, who cares about Ronnie, right?
Right.
It's a significant amount for the other artist that I need to release it. I go, so that tells me they're collecting.
Okay.
So the revenue is being collected. But they've been telling us it's in escrow and it's on hold and that we can't get our back end because it's still on hold.
Right.
Right? But now I have emails from their own people that's saying it's not on hold and the 50% is confirmed. So why can't we get our back end and use our own attorney that we want and go after Epic and Sony for doing what they did? Why do we have to? Why do you have our money and telling us how to spend it and who we could get?
Right. So their stance is basically like you can't use our money to sue our partner. You know what I'm saying? Because Sony Music.
Money.
Well, I know it's your money, right? But I'm talking about from their perspective, right? Like we're not gonna pay you to go and sue the label, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what it sounds like.
Is, but their job is to. I was on the phone with the VP of litigation. I go, come on, I can't be the smartest one in the room. You guys went to law school. I know this woman doesn't have ownership. I know the deposit doesn't have the baseline. Why can't any of you go ask her?
Yeah.
She won't give it to me. Why isn't any of you going to ask her? How come the attorneys don't ask her? You guys are just letting her do it. I go, this makes no sense at all. I go, because if you could go ask her, hey, we need to see ownership to protect your artist. She can't show it to you. In fact, the deposit doesn't even have the baseline. But you're letting her take Ronnie's. Like, you guys are just all collecting the money and telling us it's on hold and generating it, and we're in court fending for ourselves, looking like asses, trying to fight and not lose our music.
Mm-hmm.
For what? You guys came to us. We were minding our own damn business. Happy making this. We were getting 2 samples a year. Happy with that. We were comfortable. They didn't do us no favors. That's for damn sure. They caused more stress than anything. I lost clients. I can't work. I'm focused on this case.
Yeah.
I can't work on my other clients. And they're on a deadline, termination deals. I have a 5-year, that little break that. Now you're causing me to affect them. It's messed up. Just because why? This one song you can't do right. If you look at my emails, we did it by the book. There's nothing I did wrong. I was just doing it by the book.
Mm-hmm.
And what this industry is so used to, which is everyone needs to stop doing it, these short forms. Don't get a short form. Get a long form. Do not give up your music until you get a long form. Because once you get that short form, they act like they don't owe you anything. This whole short form thing, needs to go out the window. Because it needs to be a long form, and all the terms need to be signed and agreed on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go with this short form, they think they got you.
Yeah, and the thing that baffles me a little bit is even with the short form, they still, if you're going off of the copyright, they still didn't even abide by what was on that. So even without the
That's what I
long
think.
form, it's still
Yeah.
a breach.
That's what I think. They weren't even planning on giving Ronnie what he was gonna get. That's why, because like they released it like without a care, like, without getting it signed, and then they kind of just blew me off. But I was so persistent, like, no, we're gonna do this, that they were like okay, pacify me. Well, yeah, Future just released a new album. Be patient, you know. And then I'm like, well, you got 30 days. And when I did that, that's when it escalated with Dorothy coming in, trying to scare me and to give up. Like, oh no, we're in trouble now. But we're not in trouble because I know Ronnie owns that. I know how to follow the chain of title, and I know the law, and the deposit doesn't have the baseline.
Yeah. And quick question. Um, and it pertains to Dorothy and the Barry White estate. Like, why did it take for like that to come out for this mess? Because the song had been out since what, 1988 and 89, something like that. So how did it he go all of this time without, and this is a popular song, without anybody like at least attempting to say, hey, that's a Barry White interpolation?
Because it wasn't very white.
Well,
I
I
mean,
know, but I'm just saying,
oh, you
how
wonder
did,
why
I'm
somebody,
wondering why
okay,
no one ever
well,
ever.
maybe they did, but maybe they thought about it but maybe they figured out what I figured out. They can't enforce the copyright. So
Mhm.
they're like, maybe they thought about it and said, oh, no, the copyright's invalid. I mean, how I think it is. But I know they're collecting the earnings on it. But yeah, I'm just, that's probably the only thing, because Barry White was out, I mean, alive when it was
Right.
out. And he lived in LA when it was the biggest. So if Barry White didn't come for it, and then even if someone wanted to come for it, I think they probably figured out what I did, that it's not in the
The sheet
composition
music.
and the production style, so it's not copyrightable. And they probably might have invalidated the copyright. But they didn't. Dorothy and Epic probably didn't think I knew all that. They thought that they're going to come in, scare me. I wouldn't know anything about what was going on, and say, "Oh no, yeah, you showed me some. They showed me some historical documents, and I believe it's real. So let me sign over everything." And I'm like, "No, that's not. I need to see. I need to see the trust on it. I need to see the transfer ownership. I need to see the deposit. I need to see a valid registration."
Got you.
Like, what are
So
you guys doing? Yeah.
with the, because I know you were saying that the Barry White estate lawsuit, the one that they sued Rodney on, you guys were in pre-trial conferences. What's the status on that currently? Are you guys going to trial, or what's
So
that?
right, this last week when I filed my lawsuit, Dorothy Weber wasn't too happy.
Hmm.
So she ran to the judge for emergency meeting, and the judge said, "I'll deal with you, and I'll deal with open issues on May 19th."
Okay.
So it wasn't an emergency. The judge didn't feel it was.
Hmm.
So and we're compelling the judge. I mean, on mine, I'm going to amend it to ask for declaratory judgment to get ownership. Ronnie, they're going to compel for ownership. I think he just did that. Compel for ownership. He's asking them to release his funds, and either she shows ownership of the track to hold his funds, to have the right to hold his funds, or they release his funds so he can get proper legal.
Yes.
Because now it's affecting his constitutional right. And then like having Tony like hold his money over his head, like do what we say, otherwise, and then that limits him to enforce his rights. And that just proves the attorneys that we had were on the payroll.
Got you.
Because the moment that he enforced his rights to take down, that's when they said that their strategy didn't align with his. They're like, "Oh, you're going against our strategy. What? Not protecting me?"
Right.
So that's what caused them to withdraw. But what they don't understand is that whole like chain of me sending the takedown notice, then Epic calling the attorney, the attorney calling Rodney. It's all documented.
Hmm.
It shows why the attorneys withdrew. It shows It shows that when I contacted Epic for why you allocating Ronnie's earnings, it shows a day later Dorothy's contacting Tim saying, why is she contacting third party? And I'm like, why are you in my business? Ronnie has a master site. I'm telling them they owe the master site. The composition you're dealing with. Why are you interfering? This is a different situation than you. You don't need to be in this business. But then
Right.
she decided to come and get my emails and attach it. And the attorney's given her my
Hmm.
emails. And we're like, what? It's like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, I do not, I'm so baffled by it. It's like, it doesn't need to be done like this. It doesn't. There's so much money to go around. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
so so from your impression, it felt like the lawyers were basically trying to give them the master right. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, because I offered her the 45. Like, hey, if you, I go, look, I knew we had 100% of the song because they infringed. We take it. So I'm like, hey, we have it. Give her 45. I don't want to go to litigation. I don't want to be in court. Hey, they didn't do the deal right. Epic. They didn't do the deal right. So that's on them. Because if they would have done the deal right and we would have indemnified them, like if they really did the deal right, we would be on the line. But since we could actually, we don't have to be on the line. I could say, let's go sue them, get 100%, give Barry 45, we get our 45, and we'll be done with it. Call it a day. But Dorothy didn't want that because she was working with Sony,
Right. So she wanted
so
the
she
whole
didn't
thing.
accept that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she couldn't accept that because then that wasn't what she was paid to be doing. She was paid to use the Barry White to shield them and get them what they wanted. So that's
Yeah.
why that deal didn't go through.
Yeah. That makes no sense because they're going through all this work, and basically y'all are gonna, from what I'm hearing, y'all should be able to prove that Rodney didn't infringe on the Barry White at all. So that ultimately could probably take Barry White out, period, versus them accepting the initial offer that y'all could have shared on. That's what it
Yeah,
sounds like to me. If
yeah,
I'm
but the
collecting this
thing the
correctly.
thing is though the thing is though it wasn't about Barry.
Right.
That's the thing. It wasn't ever about Barry because I don't. The only thing I think Barry actually benefited from it was the notoriety to be talked about right now.
Hmm.
I think I'm pretty sure his streams went up from March to, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
People are looking at his music because he wasn't. I don't see him on the splits. I still see Ronnie and Kendrick and Metro and Future.
Right.
So and those are the ones that are getting paid. But I think they were trying to lower Ronnie's share, and not pay him now because it's harder to get money back, right? So let's get Dorothy to get it lower, and then we'll pay out. We'll just keep collecting, and then we'll pay him if we have to pay him, whatever. But we're not gonna pay him what he's owed, and then we have to get it back. And if she gets it lower, it's just more work for them.
Got you.
So they were really betting on her getting us to. But what was even more messed up was that they were trying to take ownership of Ronnie's Everlasting Base.
Right.
That's where that to me is like, okay, now you're just really thinking you're the shit. Like you really think you're really that good to do that.
Which makes no sense because even even if they were to do that, he didn't sample from their song. The best that they could really even say is interpolation, which
Yeah,
Rodney
yeah,
contends that didn't even happen.
yeah. But the thing is too, it's like they can't claim copyright infringement on something that's not in the sheet music. It's
Right,
not
right, right.
existing. So it's not there. So what are you talking about? It's not
Hmm.
there. It, and that's what's like, Judge, she doesn't own it. It's coming soon. She's gonna have to show it. The judge is gonna not be happy, and that's where this litigation, bad faith litigation, comes in.
Yes.
And I even sent her an email recently, last week. I go, when I filed the lawsuit, I send her the lawsuit. I go, Miss Weber, I'll gladly take you off this lawsuit if you could show me ownership.
Okay.
That would prove that you didn't do this ownership, you didn't do this claim in bad faith. I'll remove you.
Mm-hmm.
She replied back, I don't respond to blackmail or threats.
Oh wow. But
I'm like, well,
but either
I'm just doing my due diligence.
right,
I'm just trying
and either way, she's gonna at some point she's gonna have to submit that anyway,
mm-hmm.
if she has it.
Yeah. But the thing is, if people don't challenge it, like if me and Ronnie didn't know what we know and just like kept moving forward, they could get away with it. The judge is not going to say, hey, let me see that ownership.
Okay.
The judge wasn't thinking about this until we pointed it out.
Yeah.
Hey, judge, they don't have ownership. I don't even know why we're here. In fact, it's not even on the deposit. In fact, you shouldn't even be listening to that audio that she sent you. I don't know why she sent it to you. Maybe to mislead you.
So what was the audio?
Huh?
Okay. What was the audio?
They sent Like That and Everlasting Bass and Barry White.
Oh, to listen to the sound recordings of each song.
Yeah, but technically she shouldn't be listening to that because the infringement is on the composition. She should have sent in the deposit of the sheet music. So by her sending in the audio is misleading the judge to think that that's what you have to compare. So if you don't tell the judge, law says it has to be the sheet music, the judge is going to keep going like you guys are doing the right thing. It's not their job to tell us how to play the game. And I don't think Dorothy and them thought we were going to know how.
Okay.
So the only thing that they have a heads up on us is this procedural, the rules and the formatting and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to be doing this. But it's like, who else is going to do it? Ronnie has a paralegal helping him. I have to do this side on our court case. So it's like, this is hard. I go, I'd rather. But the thing is, I told these attorneys from the beginning, this is what we could do, and they just didn't want to do it. Or they just took Dorothy's, or they were so scared of Dorothy, and since she said it and she's really respected, they didn't want to tell her no.
Got you.
And I mean, she does have. I'm not mad at her. She has a way about her that I hate to be her husband. If she can get too caught up, she could switch. She could run circles around people. I ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
But I'm not having it.
Yeah.
I'm not having it. That was Ronnie.
Yeah, and you're again for people to know, your job as rights manager is to protect your client. So that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah. And like I go, come on, who's crazy enough to make themselves a defendant on a federal case and go in front of a judge and put that on? Like I intervened in a federal case as a defendant to take on a defendant because I made this licensing deal.
Right.
I'm not going to have what I did or to take his music, his legacy away. So I don't care if I look stupid. I'm going to go to the judge. And I'm a strong believer in Christ. And I remember that morning I was praying. He goes, if you could go to the throne every morning to me, you could go to that judge. And I said, I'm going. And it turned the whole case around now.
Okay. So
now it's not here.
So in terms of the Barry White estate lawsuit, the next, you said the judge isn't trying to hear anything until May 19th. May 19th. So what's happening on May 19th?
So May 19th is we're gonna request with her to prove ownership and to get their earnings released so we could get an attorney to see if that happens. If not, July we have a scheduled mediator, and that's someone from the court that the judge picks that could come in and now they can see what we've been dealing with. Because me and Ronnie don't even want to get on the phone with her because I looked up how she litigates in the past, and what she does is she'll tell you, let's get on a phone call, meet and confer, and then she puts you on the phone call, has 3 of her associates come on, and whatever you guys discuss, she contradicts it and has them write a declaration and makes you look bad, and then gets them thrown out. Okay. So we're like, I saw that she did that on the Nina Simone case.
Okay.
I go, don't get on that phone with her. She keeps trying to get us on that phone. I go, don't get on that phone. Don't get on the phone. I go, everything could be in writing.
Yeah.
Don't get on that phone. Because, why do you have to get on the phone? If you can't prove documents, there's nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I go, get the document. And the thing is, like, we'll gladly move forward and move this discovery on forward. if you just show us the ownership. Why is
Yeah.
it so hard? I've been asking for it since May. If you had it last
Right.
May, right? So that when the judge finds out that all this time you haven't, and you have me and Ronnie in here, and you've been holding up his earnings, I would love to see what she's going to do next.
Okay.
So that's where it's at. So right now it's like we're gonna on the 19th. We'll see if we get our money released and get her to prove ownership. If not, it's gonna go into July. And meanwhile, in between, we can hit those subpoenas out to get the emails from all the other people that were involved.
Okay.
And then if I have what I have from my emails, I can't wait to see what I actually find. You know, already with that comment Metro made on
To
that.
TMZ.
Yeah, when he said that we ain't mad about them, we're mad at the relationship. Yeah, damn right, I'm mad at that relationship because that's what caused this all. And then honestly, the Jimi Hendrix too. I'm gonna contact that lawyer and let them know too. Like, hey, this is something that she's known to do. Like that's a bad faith litigation that she's using the whole system as a weapon. Like we're entitled to these earnings, and they're taking out like these two band members. That's their family. That's their family's music. Why are you? They didn't sue you. They sued Sony. Like who like? I just I can't believe that they're doing this. But like I said, get the license, get the long form. Don't take
Hmm.
the short form anymore. Don't. And honestly, even the legacy artists, if you guys did a sample license, go back and look at it.
Mm.
I guarantee you all you guys should go renegotiate. Because I
Okay.
guarantee you, go renegotiate. Go to re, yeah. That's hey, they brought it out. I'm doing that with NLE Chopper too. Ronnie had a song with NLE Chopper. I'm in
Hmm.
court now. That got put on hold because of this case. But they
So
did the same thing.
okay, the same thing happened with NLE Chopper.
Yeah, what they did was they did a short form, and then they didn't. The splits didn't get finalized. So if the split, it's you have 30 days from to when you get notified of a split dispute, mechanical license. You have
Hmm.
30 days to fix it. If not, the person can rescind it and
Okay.
take back. So if you don't, because they're ignoring me. I'm like, hey, you gotta get the splits in. Like I was just like, I came in, saw the contract wasn't done right. Ronnie's not getting paid in BMI right. I hit them up. Hey, this is not the. It's coming out to over 100. Can we fix it? What's what? They ignored me, ignored me, ignored me.
And who's doing this on behalf of NLE Chopper? Is that Atlantic or who's he with?
Warner.
Warner. Okay.
Yeah, so I was dealing with the publishing though, because I just wanted like I was working on Ronnie's catalog. I'm like, okay, well this he's not getting paid that. It's like it's all the money's being stopped because it's over 100. So I reached out to the publishing. I'm like, hey, can we fix it? And no one's answering me.
Hold on.
I mean, Warners don't care because they're getting their master part of it.
The publishing is over 100.
Yeah, because when they did the splits for the sample, they didn't finalize it right.
Wow.
So for the last 2 years at that time, Ronnie wasn't getting paid on that. And
Mm.
what they do too, it's like a lot of these labels with these young artists, they don't care if they have you in court suing these people because it's coming out of your money. They just have you connected to them longer.
From the
So
artist.
they probably want you in lawsuits because they keep you under their contract longer because they're paying the bill, and you don't even know what the bill is. So now you're in debt to them forever
Mm.
because of this lawsuit. So they don't care if you're in a lawsuit because they'll just pay it and then they own you. So these artists need to really understand the game.
So these
Do your own.
lawsuits also become a part of. Does that become a part of their recoupment and their deal?
Because yeah, they have to pay for the lawsuits, so that keeps them enslaved to them.
Got you.
So they could care less if they have to cause a lawsuit. Oh, you want we're gonna be court? Okay. They don't really try to solve it.
Got
They
it.
rather be in the courts because then they'll just charge the artist. And oh, by the way, that lawsuit, you still have recoupment.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm glad that you agreed to have this conversation because it's a lot that's going through my head now, just in terms of other stories that I've heard throughout the years. I remember Lupe Fiasco's Kick Push, I think the sample for that song was owned by some Brazilian jazz label or something like that, and in order to get it cleared, they just went out and like bought the publishing company or something like that so that they owned all the songs, so that he ended up like not getting publishing on it. It was crazy. He's told the story before, but hearing this story, it just kind of shows what these companies are willing to do to kind of control the entire song.
Well, to me, it's these it's the labels and these attorneys. They created their own jurisdiction,
Mm-hmm.
so they always tell people, you don't want to go to court. You don't want to go to court. It's gonna then because it's gonna cost you so much money because they set that price. So of course, like they don't want you in court because if you go to court, you probably will win because the copyright laws are in the creator's favor.
Mm-hmm.
In the industry outside the court, it's their own jurisdiction and they make the rules. They'll tell you how it's supposed to be, industry norms, industry
Right.
standard.
Right.
But that's not copyright law. But then they'll make you pay these high prices if you want to go that route. Oh, give us a 50,000 retainer if you want to go to court. Makes it nearly impossible. It's like I can't do it, right?
Right.
So then you're submitting to these industry norms and industry terms or standards, and it's like these, and then that's where I'm always fighting them on. I go, that's not law, and they just think they could do it, and then that's where we hit heads. That's just where we're hitting heads. We're like, I was like, you can't do this, and they're like, okay, well, let's get Dorothy on you.
Mm-hmm. And she's
'Cause I was
normally able
trying
to
to,
get people to back down.
yeah, because they don't know this. And I go back to the Bible. God says, my people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge. So the more knowledge you have, the more strength you have. Learn it, because it's solid. Knowledge is solid. If you know the law, I'm confident. It's like you don't have ownership. I saw it. You don't have the deposit. I know the law, 72 to 88. You don't have it. You know, Rodney independently created it. He used a master sample. It's different from the composition, irrelevant. That's a different law. Like if you know these laws, it's like they can't hurt you, you know.
Gotcha.
But
Yep.
they will try to stomp you out, and they're doing a good job of it. I'm not gonna lie. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, and then we don't have our money, so
Yeah.
it's a lot. But thanks for letting me share it, though.
Absolutely. I mean when I saw the case and I talked about it, I was left with a lot of questions. So it was great that you caught wind of the video to where we could, get in contact and kind of fill in some of those blanks that I was like, man, what is happening here? So
So do you think it was cool that Kendrick went and registered it?
so was it him that registered it, or did they just include him in on the registration?
The way I see it, if you're a company, if you're
Mm-hmm.
the brand, and you have people working for you, if they did it, you did it. Those are the people you hired.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way I hold myself, the way I carry myself, the way I do my deal, I represent Ronnie. And he hires people that represent him. So if you're working with people that won't do it right or would do something that's not something you would want to be done, then you shouldn't be. They should be gone. So if he finds this out that he registered a song and he doesn't fire them, then what's that tell you? He did it.
Okay.
So he pretty much knows his team, and you pretty much have to sign that when you do the copyright.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what he did. So I don't know. Like I wish that he didn't. He's not like us, I guess.
I don't know. I can't speak for him in that
You don't have to
situation.
speak. It
I
actually shows.
know, but I can't speak for him because if I'm looking at it from a featured artist standpoint, and I'm guessing since he is on the copyright, it was probably in exchange for his appearance versus taking a $250,000 feature price or whatever. I'm thinking somebody in that position is just gonna make sure I get mine. Y'all can figure out the rest because it's not technically on his album or anything like that. So I mean I feel like it's more so Future and Metro It's their label. It's their
Um,
album.
I I sent an email to
Hmm.
all the artist teams.
Right, right.
Heads up, not sure if you know this is happening.
Hmm.
I just want to let you know because it's going to escalate. And when it escalates and you guys don't do anything, you're going to be complicit. And I'm going to see it as you agree with how this is done.
Right.
So it wasn't like I just added him to the lawsuit because I just want to add his name. I added him because I gave his team a heads up.
Hmm.
I told them, broke it down, how it was done, how I asked for the ownership, how I asked for the rights holder. They didn't tell me about Kendrick. Otherwise, I would have included him in the percentage. They didn't tell me that. If you guys want to make it right, come talk to me right now. We'll figure this out together and get this. And then when I escalate it and go after them for doing what they did, you won't be part of it.
Right.
I told his team that. So if his team didn't go back to him and say, hey, let's get this resolved, then what they did, in fact, at that same time when I did that, it was in February of this year,
Hmm.
they went and registered the song.
So the song was registered this year.
February. The same time I sent that letter out.
Got you.
So, and that was the same time that they thought we're about to lose the case. So they probably told them, oh, go ahead, everything's good. They're going to get dismissed. They're not going to be able to do it. We're going to win this. It was like, we were 1 week from losing that case. The case that we're in for Barry White,
Right.
before I intervened. Yeah, we were about to lose it. So they were probably like, go register.
Interesting.
And then for the fact that Metro said he knew about the 50%, 50,000, so he pretty much knew about the other part of it. Like, if you're in the blind that much, then you're not doing the business right.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the mogul you claim to be. You should know exactly. People should be doing their job, but you should be knowing that you should be looking over them. Like, Ronnie knows exactly everything I do. Like, I don't, and DJ Quick knows everything I do. Jesse Johnson, everyone knows everything I do. They're like kids. I tell them everything. So I don't keep things from them.
Right.
So if someone's keeping things from you, then I don't know what to tell you. Especially something about being in a lawsuit. I'm your friend, and if someone were to tell me, "Hey, I'm gonna probably get him Nolan in a lawsuit," I'm gonna, "Hey, babe, check this out. He's saying this shit. Go figure that out." You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't understand why you're teaming it.
Well, again, it's just from how I see it, right? Because I don't feel like this is the first copyright situation that his team has been through, and I think some of them they've even been like dismissed from because it wasn't their song, right? So that's kind of the perspective that I'm looking at it from. Is I understand that he's a part of the record and he's a part of the copyright, probably in exchange for his appearance on the record, which I understand from your perspective. It's all of them.
Yeah,
But
why? First off, Ronnie's is the original creator of that song.
yes,
So why? He might be popular. He might be popular now, but doesn't negate the fact that Ronnie was the creator.
absolutely.
That's the song. So why does he get the terms that he get? Why did Ronnie off? Why does he get thrown to the side? He's the legacy artist.
Yeah, I don't agree with him being. I don't agree with him not being a part of it, right? So I think that should have been handled properly. So when I see the copyright and I see Rodney's not on there when they directly sampled his record, that's a problem. But I also feel like that's more so than anybody, that's a Sony, because that's on Future's album. He signed to Sony RCA or Epic, excuse me. So I would put that on the label.
I put it on whoever signed with them.
Okay.
Whoever signed with the label is the one that's responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got word that Future was upset, about how it happened. And he didn't know. Like you're saying, he didn't know. And I told Ryan, you know what? I go, if that's the case, I think you should meet up with Future, sit down with them, tell him how it went down, like school him. Like, hey, this is how the licensing deal went down.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't know, and maybe take it as a learning opportunity. Tell him this is how the business has been done, and maybe you guys could figure out how the younger generation and the OGs could teach each other about how to do the business and get rid of the attorneys, because that's what's messing it up.
Right.
And maybe if they learn the business and see how it's being done, they can start going to each other and making sure it gets done. and build off of each other rather than paying these other people involved that are just
Right.
going to screw it up. I go, that would make it all worth it to me, honestly, if that were to happen. If Future was generally um, upset by this, then okay, come to the table. We'll teach you how. We'll tell you this is how it was done. This is what we're told by your team. Maybe you need to go figure that out over there, redo it, or you're just playing the part, and that's not. You know? So, but either way, it would be a good moment for hip hop to get that to build off of, to learn from each other.
Absolutely.
You know, but if he doesn't, and if he just wants to make us think that he's sorry, then that's another thing.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it at it's Future and Metro's album. Future is the face of the entire project. That's his for all intents and purposes. It's really his song. Metro produced it, and which is
Mm-hmm.
also a problem because he knew what he sampled, and
Mm-hmm.
they should have taken the necessary precautions to get that taken care of. If they reached out to y'all, it should have been finalized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as a featured artist, I just don't know what the ramifications are for a featured artist when Kendrick's not signed to Sony, he's not signed to Epic. He's a Interscope artist, so that's kind of something
Well,
different.
the moment he registered that copyright, he held the gun.
Hmm.
His fingerprints are on it, and now it's a willful infringement
Yes.
because it's still your job. But no matter like it's still you're the one that's on that track. You're the
Hmm.
one that needs to make sure it's cleared. That's your job because your name's on it. When you go to court, they're not going to. You can't say, "Oh, but but you still did it." You still have to clear it. If you're going to get on a track, if you're going to get in a car, you got to make sure it's not hot, right? Otherwise, if you get pulled over and you're in a hot car, you're recharged.
Yes,
You
but
can't.
I've also seen instances where artists on a particular song have been dismissed from a lawsuit that they didn't necessarily play an active role in. So I can't from my
That's
from
irrelevant. That I'm not negating that. I'm just
mhm,
saying if you're signing if you're putting your name on the copyright
mhm,
registration, that won't be the issue. If
gotcha.
if if you would have got a fee for being a feature and some of
Hmm.
the master, okay, yeah, that happens. I wouldn't be like, this isn't your deal. This is the label's deal.
Hmm.
But it became your deal when you signed what was Ronnie's. That's what became. And if Metro didn't tell you, then I think that you should be mad at Metro
I
because
wouldn't
he's
be
the one that.
surprised. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised
because
if
Metro's
they
on.
are.
Because him and Metro are on that 50-50 on the claimant.
Right.
So to me right now, both of them, like Ronnie's supposed to get 50%. So both of them owe him 25, and that's actually copyright fraud. The way they registered it,
Yeah.
because they didn't even put him as a songwriter, and it's a derivative work.
Yep.
So the master is different. The master has it sampled because and the thing is, I'm not even like, I was even like, look, that deal was like, I would be willing to give you that 15% and we'll be good, and
Right.
you guys could control the. But now it's like, no, 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 no. Now that master's ours too. I'm not happy because what
Yeah.
they did, cool.
And that makes sense because I've heard numerous instances where things don't happen as they should as far as clearing the sample, and the rights holders then come back and they basically take the entire master. You know what I'm saying? I've definitely heard situations where that's happened as well. So I feel like that's within your rights.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie's nicer than me, and he's the one that calls the shots. But I'm like, I'm like, because I do all the work on it. I'm the one that's like, I'm tired.
Right.
I'm the one that got bullied. I'm the one they blacklisted. I'm the one that they sidestepped. I'm the one they disrespected. Meanwhile, Ronnie's doing his thing, handling his stuff, and I'm trying to get this deal done. And they're
Right.
just like, I'm the one that had to put up with that. And even now, I'm being laughed at on the YouTubes because I went in and I'm being a lawyer. I don't want to be a lawyer. Laugh all you want, but when the truth comes out, and that's how confident I am, because we have the truth.
Yeah. I
So
mean, the end of the day, if they sample your record and they don't include you in on the ownership of the record and they don't give you the publishing, I mean, clearly something's not right.
And the thing is too, they're like, "Oh, Ronnie was happy about it in the beginning." Yeah, like you really think like I was the one in the background making noise behind the scenes? Why would Ronnie go out there and try and mess up a release that they were having? Like he's trying to like keep because he wants to generate money for them too. Like he doesn't want to knock it. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's like his job was to make it's me to be the bad guy, him to be the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was behind. So but I've been shouting since March 22nd, 2024.
Yeah.
I've been so they
Yeah.
can't say, "Oh, I just
Yeah.
started."
The paper trail is there.
Yeah, so they can't say, "Oh, we just decided to do this or because of this claim." No, we've been on it from day one, and then they came with this claim, and now we're dealing with this claim. They're trying to get us away from them.
Yeah.
So they can't say we're trying to do any old thing. We've been trying to do this right. It's them that we're trying to sidestep us.
Yeah.
So I mean, considering that they only wanted to give us 6,000 for the beginning,
Yeah. It's
so
crazy.
they're not happy about the deal I made. I can understand that. But this is not what you do.
Yeah.
I think you count your losses. Or maybe you would have told me exactly who the rights holders were, and we would have all been able to get our percentage
Right.
instead of you getting
Just
upset.
right, because they evaded the splits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too. With these samples that people do, they let the label deal with it. Artists, please, please, they're dealing with the master side. Make sure the publishing side gets done. That's not you didn't sign with the label with the publishing.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, you're getting the sample done. They're handling they're taking care of themselves. They don't care about your publishing. So if the splits get mixed up and you don't get paid, they don't care because the master side is getting paid. You
Yep.
need to make sure that you make those splits on the publishing side. Make sure they're solid because the label just wants their money. So they'll tell you things are taken care of because like this one licensing deal with Sony, they they told Ronnie that he had 4,000 for the publishing, and then he's gonna get 15,000 for the sample, right? So they gave him the sample. Oh no, so then they released it. They released it without giving him the money. So then I came in. Now you infringed. So now I want 30 because it could be 150 if we go to court for the
Mm-hmm.
statutory of infringement because you should have paid him before. You should have signed this before. Because Ronnie tried to bug you all week about getting this done. You didn't do it, and you just disrespected him. Waited till you released it, and now you want to pay him. So now, no, now I'm telling you that's infringement.
Yeah.
Now you owe him 30. And then when she was going to pay him, Ronnie goes, "Where's the publishing?" I go, "What do you mean?" She said that was going to be the publishing. I was going to get the publishing side of it. I go, they tell you what they want to tell you. They don't have to. In New York, they don't have to be good faith dealing. They could tell you whatever they want in order to get their deal done.
Got you.
That's why they always have New York on their contracts. So I was like, Ronnie, I go, you had to deal with the publisher at that time. No.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and deal with the publisher. So even though they're saying they're dealing with the publisher, they're not. Make sure you deal with the publisher. Make sure you deal with the master, the label.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where everything gets all mixed up. That's so it is. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely. I mean, you have the clarity, so I appreciate
I
you
hope
sharing.
I hope everyone can understand that. It's like a flow. It's
Well,
up
I
and
mean,
down.
it's very complex, and then for the audience, they're not active participants in the music business or anything, so they're just taking it at face value. I hope that they're able to kind of understand and follow through with the flow and the timeline of everything of how this worked out. But I mean, the long and short of it is Rodney O got sampled and then is being cut out of the deal. I mean, that's pretty much the simple way of putting this together, because you get this person from the Barry White estate who's coming in and trying to claim things, and you have the the proof that his song didn't come from their sheet music or whatever. They don't even want to submit it, so they're evading their obligation to show proof. So I mean, at that point, for me, I can see where Rodney is being shortchanged, right? Because again, there's no way that you can come claim somebody's master for a for composition rights. You know what I'm saying? So that's just crazy work.
And what's sad about this is Ronnie had no claim for almost 30 years. No
Right.
claim. He's known for Everlasting Bass.
Right.
This is like an iconic a cornerstone track for Southern hip hop and West Coast hip hop. Now it's damaged. Now some of the credits going to be thought of as and it's never been very white. Never been right. It sounds like it, but there's a lot of sounds. Like Jackie Mito. A lot of things sound like it.
That sounds exactly like it too. Yeah.
Yeah, go to listen to Bernadette. That sounds like it too. Ain't no mountain high enough. That sounds like it too. It's all in there. It's just more prominent in these two songs.
Gotcha. Yep.
So now Ronnie's tainted because of this, and it didn't need to be done. Just for what, greed? It's just sad. It's a lot. It's a lot. But like I said, if any of the artists want to come forward and make it right and take it as a learning thing, we're game. We don't want to be in court.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm not gonna back down. I'm not. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And once again, I thank you for explaining and sharing these details, because most of the time when we see these things happen, we don't get the luxury of having somebody that can actually explain how this came to be. All we can really do is look at the paperwork or most times just the headlines and just kind of take it at what it is and say, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with that. So I thank you once again.
Yeah, and that's another thing I told Ryan. I go, look, if anything, it comes from it, people can learn from it. If we look stupid, we look stupid, but it's like, so it has to start somewhere. Like, there's a lot of these OG artists, when I help them, they're like, well, I still want to look stupid. I don't want you to see my stuff because I don't want to look stupid.
Yeah. And that's like, one thing I do want to get into before we go is, who are some of the other artists that you've been working with and the things that you've been able to do for them? Because I don't want people to just think that you came off the street, that you're working with Rodney, and you know what I'm saying?
No, I said, Two Life Crew, Brother Marquise, Uncle Luke, and Chinaman, and Mr. Mix. I was the one that facilitated the termination, that landmark case with the bankruptcy. I was able to figure out how termination stumped the bankruptcy. So now even if an artist has a bankruptcy during the time that they transfer their rights, they can still get their music back. We were able to fight that. Brenton Wood, I was able to get his music, 45 tracks of his hits, give me a little sign, boogum boogum, and put him back into his, Art LeBeau. Art LeBeau oldies.
Art LeBeau, I've heard the name.
So all the oldies is Brenton Wood, all his songs. They were at a different publishing company, and I came and took them back and put them in his label. His publishing company right before he passed away. And that I'm working with Jesse Johnson, which is from the time Prince. We're gonna get his stuff back. Well, he already has a lot of his stuff back, but we're gonna go get the stuff that he did with Marvin Gaye. No, not Marvin. What's that guy's name? Morris Day.
Morris Day. Okay.
Morris Day. The time the purple. Yeah, the guitar. Jesse Johnson, DJ Quick, Sad Boy Loco. He's my Latino artist. I hope I'm not forgetting no one. Sugar Free. I feel so bad because I haven't been able to do. Oh, Digital Underground. I just feel so bad. Oh, Johnny J from Tupac. I've worked on his stuff.
The producer.
But I just feel so bad because I can't do anything. I feel like my hands are tied, and like, if I'm not working for them, they're not making money.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel bad. And it's just because why? So if anyone needs an intern and wants to help me out, because I need help. You'll learn a lot.
For sure. It's a lot.
Thank you again. Appreciate
Absolutely. It. Thank you. And wishing y'all all the best in this litigation and these cases, because I know it's draining. It's a lot to go through, but I do salute you for being willing to stand up, because a lot of people don't.
Thank you. Yeah, it's worth it. It'll be worth it.
For sure. All right. Once again, thank you. Appreciate it. And once again, I'm wishing you all the best, and send my love to Rodney as well. All right, y'all. So that was my conversation with Miss Necole Key. And she's in the thick of it with Rodney O. She's fighting Sony, UMG, Epic, the Barry White estate, all over this like that sample. I hope that y'all were able to get some context out of this. For all of the people that claim that Drake is involved in this, clearly y'all could tell Drake is not. I told y'all that from the jump. But it's just her and Rodney O. They're fighting for his rights, and I can't say that they're wrong, right? Because at the end of the day, as soon as you hear this song come on, as in like that, you hear everlasting bass. Now, some people may not appreciate the music from the 80s, but without that music, we don't have that song. We don't get the iconic diss record from Kendrick going through Drake and J. Cole. We don't get the jump off of last year's Lyrical War. We don't get the subject matter that we've been talking about for a year straight. And partially that is attributed to Rodney O. So he absolutely does deserve to get his just due out of the situation. Now, do I think they need some help? Absolutely, especially a legal professional that can help them, get their things structurally right, procedurally right. Even Necole on here said she's not too proud for help if anybody wants to assist. But I can't hold that against them. You know what I'm saying? For everybody that's wondering why Kendrick is involved, once again, Kendrick is involved because his name was registered on the copyright, which means that he is being held liable for the copyright of the song. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know his entire involvement in it. I do believe that Metro is probably more responsible for the registration, or people in Metro's camp are more responsible for the registration than Kendrick is. I'm sure he's going off of this is what I'm demanding for the song. Y'all make sure it happens. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, with the way that the business has been handled by Sony and Epic and the music licensing company that they employed to get the rights for this song, he's being caught up in a clusterfuck. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to have to see how this thing plays out. And I know it pulls on people's strings of like being loyal to the artist, namely Kendrick, because I don't think y'all are very loyal to Metro and Future. You know what I'm saying? Y'all aren't huge fans of them. But I just say let it play out, right? Because you never know what it's like until you find yourself in that position, or somebody that you know or love is in that position, because most of y'all aren't musicians or actively participating in the music business. But if your loved one was going through this and everybody, is millionaires, living great lives, able to tour, and they sample your loved one, and your loved one is prominently featured in a hit record, let's be clear, hit record, Grammy nominated record, and they're not receiving any compensation from it, you would want to make sure that that compensation gets directed in their accounts, right? So that's what Necole is doing. It's her job. She was hired as Rodney O's rights manager, and in order for her to fight even more fervently on his behalf, she entered an agreement with Rodney, which entitled her to some level of ownership in his music, so that they could be locked in as co-parties. They're trying their best, you know what I mean? And maybe they have made some mistakes along the way. Necole says, they need help. But ultimately, I do hope that Rodney O gets his just due. As it pertains to the Barry White estate, to the untrained ear, I would say it sounds like an interpolation. But Necole contends that the Barry White estate, when they have the sheet music, that bass line that's played in the song, the do 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 do, she says that those chords, those notes are not even in Barry White's sheet music, which contributes to the composition, not the sound recording. Once again, that's technical terms in the music business. The sound recording is the music you hear. The composition is the sheet music. So if it's not in the sheet music, you can't claim it, right? And Rodney O replayed or played his bass line, right? But if you don't have the sheet music or the composition, because when you deal with an interpolation, you're dealing with composition rights, not master, right? Which is why people go out there and do interpolations, because it costs vastly less to deal with the composition rights, right? So if Barry White Estate can't produce proof that they own that bass line, then they also cannot copyright claim Everlasting Bass. So if all of these things can be proven in court, then Rodney O might be able to walk away from this unscathed, outside of the financial damage that is done for him, outside of the industry damage that is done for him, having to fight big corporations like Sony, Epic, Sony Music Publishing, who they signed $1 million deal on the publishing side, but they won't even relinquish funds for him to fight this because, unfortunately, he's going to have to go up against Sony, which is the owner of the publisher. So they're not going to, So they're in a really tough position, but hopefully you can look at this from a lens where it's like they're not trying to punish Kendrick. It's not about him being the number one rap artist right now. The reason why Kendrick is involved is because his name is registered on the copyright and the business was not handled correctly. Therefore, he has to take the fall along with Metro and Future. If the business was done right, nobody would be going through this, okay? Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. If this is your first time, welcome to the Inside the Industry show. And much love and respect. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.